Welcome to Brand Lover, honest, real, and lively conversations for flourishing entrepreneurs and budding business owners on a mission to cultivate a heartfelt brand that connects with their purpose-driven mission. My hope is that you walk away feeling inspired and refreshed with a weekly takeaway in your back pocket that you can apply to your life or business. Super quickie for you today. Good versus bad branding. You've probably all judged somebody's brand at some point. Gosh, I think we all do. So I just really wanted to touch on what makes a good brand versus what makes a bad brand, because they're not actually obvious things. And these are sort of thought-provoking things and perhaps a little bit challenging things that might hopefully make you think a little bit, okay? So I'm going to head straight into it. So bad branding follows trends. It's all well and good for the first 1 or 2 years while the trend is actually, good. But it's like haircut. So a cool haircut. Once you sort of start to see 7-year-old boys with your husband's haircut, it's time for your husband to get a new haircut. And you don't want to be changing up your branding all the time because that's confusing, and it actually it is sort of actually evokes distrust in your audience, because, if you're changing up your branding that much, then you clearly don't know what you're doing, and that's the perception of the audience. So that's the first one. Is not customer centered. So, you might see some people choosing colors because it's their favorite color, or, they choose something because they like it, or it matches something in their house, or, because my kid did this cute thing once and I really wanted to make that part of my brand, but it means nothing to nobody, nothing to nobody. And all it is just sort of random and confusing. So bad branding is it's really hard to understand what the brand stands for, what they actually are wanting to achieve, and they don't sort of make it clear who they're for or who they're not for. It's not obvious. So another thing is that it's not aligned. It doesn't make sense. So perhaps, let's have a think about it. This is just really random idea, but let's just say a men's shaving soap, and it has a floral pattern all over it, those sorts of things. That's not aligned. That doesn't make sense. That's not going to be attractive to their perfect customer. So, that's just sort of another example of it not being customer centered. And the last one is that it's a bit meh. It doesn't evoke any really strong feelings. I guess another word for it is that it's vanilla. It doesn't, there's no personality to it. Okay, so they're the bad branding. So on the flip side, you know what's coming. Good branding does not follow trends, okay? The brand is created through a branding process and translated and communicated visually and vocally as its own thing. It's confident enough to stand on its own 2 feet, defy trends, and that will lead you to a brand that has more longevity and more recognizable. It's not going to just blend in with all of the other brands that are being created at the time that are following the trends. They're the ones that are going to have to go back and rebrand in 2-3 years time. Okay, so good branding is customer centered. It's really obvious who they're serving, who their products and services are for, and why. Good brands stand for something. It's really obvious what their brand values are, and that's attractive to their perfect customers, and because they feel like they sort of stand up for the same things. It's aligned and it makes sense. So as I was talking about, you wouldn't necessarily use a floral pattern on a men's soap packet, for example. I mean, you might in some cases. This is just random. But you would if it was, if the product was designed for, aging women with sensitive skin that are able to use this sweet smelling soap, then you would use that floral pattern, and it would be enticing to them. And finally, a good brand evokes feeling. Okay, so you want to be consistently evoking the similar types of feelings in your audience so that they know what to expect and they know what you're about, and they know, they know that they can feel comfortable with your brand. So I know that I was going to make this super quick. It's sort of still quick, but I do get a little bit passionate about this. Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this week's episode of Brand Lover, take a screenshot of wherever you're listening and share your biggest takeaway on Instagram or Facebook, and don't forget to tag me. I'd love to give you a shout out and thank you personally. Also, feel free to subscribe and leave a review to help the Brand Lover podcast reach more heart-aligned entrepreneurs just like yourself. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.